Welcome to the Superhero's Journey, episode number 3, podcast where we talk mainly about superhero movies and TV shows with a bit of Star Wars and other things in the genre. My name is Carl Freemerman. This is my co-host with me.
I prefer to go by co-host, Brian Shores.
And you can find us on Twitter at Superhero Journey, no E in super. And write to us via email at the superheroesjourney@gmail.com, where heroes is plural, not possessive. And we also have our breakout TV discussion that you listen to as a separate podcast. All right. So today, what we got here?
A whole plethora of things from the week.
Exactly. That's what we always do.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to start with some information about the New Mutants movie.
Yes.
The director, Josh Boone,
Mm-hmm.
has said, in quote, "We are making a full-fledged horror movie set within the X-Men universe." He went on to say, "There are no costumes. There are no supervillains. We're trying to do something very, very different."
Yeah, that I don't know where I really sit on that, because I feel as though there's only really 2, maybe 3 of the New Mutants that really lend themselves to horror.
Exactly.
You know, where you have Magic, Moonstar, and Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane's the obvious one. Magic, she's kind of in her, she's kind of maybe Karma, because she can, project the illusions. But
okay,
yeah, I don't really know if that really lends itself to it, unless they're gonna go full out like Black Tom and just stick with all of the different European characters.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about the concept because I don't think the New Mutants fits that genre.
Not at all.
I'm not against them trying to do a different genre, but I look at these characters and I think it should be something fun about younger characters.
No, it should be very fun, very youthful, very energetic. I mean, that was kind of the point of the New Mutants in the first place, was to bring new life into the X-Men franchise. And I feel like that's kind of what they need to do now, even though they do have the younger team coming through from the end of Age of Apocalypse. This, I think, is a great opportunity for them to do a complete revamp and do something really cool, really fun.
Yeah. And then this idea of, no costumes, no supervillains, I don't get that. I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, if anything, I could say that it's the influence and the wrong impression to take from Logan.
Yeah.
Because, Logan, of course, obviously didn't have costumes and also didn't really have supervillains.
No, they tried, but it was Logan was very much a movie like fighting against self and trying, looking for redemption, and that it worked for the movie for however good it was, whether you liked it or hated it. I feel as though they kind of succeeded with what they were doing. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm hopeful because it is characters that I really do enjoy. I've said in the past that Cannonball has for a long time, very much almost without reason, been my favorite X-Man. Mm-hmm. Probably because, who doesn't want the ability to fly and also be invulnerable while flying, so you don't get like a wind burn?
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, but
this
take of it.
But that doesn't sound horrific.
No. And I can, like I said, if they wanted to do a Wolfsbane standalone movie where she's getting chased throughout Scotland, being misunderstood, and basically make it like a werewolf movie, sure, that doesn't sound good, but it makes a little sense. But
I mean, that could be a scene for her character, but not a whole movie. No.
Yeah, no, I don't understand. Like
that's how you meet her. Maybe she's on the run because.
Yeah.
But in the why do you want to deprive us of X-Men costumes?
Yeah.
Has been their agenda from the day one to not give us any traditional X-Men costumes ever.
Yeah.
And the closest we ever got was in the best X-Men movie.
Yes.
X-Men
3. No, obviously X-Men First Class, where they not only did they make the suits look faithful, but they made them make sense too.
Exactly.
That they designed them as flight suits, so they could withstand, the G-forces from being in the jet. But also, they looked like the original X-Men suits with the blue and yellow, and it was great.
That totally works, and I want to see some variation of that New Mutant costume that they had, and like they have some variation of the X-Men costume.
Yeah, in the comics they justified it as that was their training uniform, whether it was a blue and yellow or black and yellow. They just said that's your training uniform. You get an individual uniform when you graduate from the school and you become a full X-Man. Yeah. And this doesn't make any sense as to why they're going this route.
Yeah, Fox just wants to go and do whatever the hell they want. They think they can just do anything, and now they're on a streak. They've got 2 successful movies in a row.
Yep.
One in Deadpool, which was an incredible movie, which had an incredible costume.
Yeah.
And had supervillains, and it really worked. And the other one was Logan, which, you guys don't know my opinion of this movie, but I don't think it's that good. It's not a bad movie. It has a great first half, and it falls apart in the second half.
Yeah.
And it has arguably the worst villains in any superhero movie that we've had.
Yeah.
Or any decent superhero movie.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like they were looking at what was successful and they just kind of ran with the wrong model. Because like you said, Deadpool, I think, is an excellent example of what they should be doing and what works for them and what it does right and what what would be right. Because you have a fun movie, you have a decent villain, you have him look not only him look exactly like he does in the comic, you have Colossus.
Oh, so
which
perfect.
Makes it in a real world, it makes no sense for anyone or anything to look like that, and they didn't even try and make it look like it's a thing that would exist in the real world. They just made it look like it was right off the page, and it was great.
Yeah,
I
want more of that. Why do they not want to give us more of that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't understand this.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but
yeah, I can only hope for the best.
Yeah.
I still think I'm still interested in this movie, but I just that concerns me. Mm-hmm. It makes my excitement for this movie drop
significantly. Yeah. There was the other little bit of news about it that, if you want to move on to this, that gave me hope for the movie, and until I started thinking about it with the other stuff, and it just kind of confused me even more, is the potential casting of Rosario Dawson into the New Mutants, possibly as was it Celia Reyes?
Dr. Celia Reyes.
Yeah,
she's a mutant who has some
force fields.
Biofield power. Yeah, that acts like some sort of shield, force field to protect her, and it's like an involuntary thing, so she can just. If something happens to her, it automatically protects her.
Yeah. And
I even read that she hasn't able to weaponize it in some ways too, which is sort of interesting.
She can make spikes out of it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy, for what little I've read with her, I enjoyed her character in the comics. I think when I was reading it, there was a good bit where there was some conflict. I think it was between her and Marrow, which is another really fun character. Which, if you're gonna do horror, Marrow is a great character to bring in. Like
X-Force could be the horror movie.
Yeah,
that would work.
X-Force would lend itself wonderfully to a horror movie.
But of course, all need to have costumes, and there needs to be a supervillain.
Yeah. The whole supervillain kind of thing trips me up. I don't, because at that point, what are you going up against? Because it can't be New Mutants versus Lex Luthor. You can't have them go. I don't want to see them up against like Boulevard Trask. I don't care about that.
Right. I mean, what is the point of having superpowers if you're not going to be able to fight against things that are superpowered in their own way?
Yeah, especially there has to be a significant amount of people with superpowers in this world now that you're going on to the next generation of X-Men.
Right.
If that's the route they're going.
Yeah, we might get something that's technically not a supervillain that has some sort of supernatural thing going on in this movie, I suspect.
Like, let's say they decide to change around the Cecilia Reyes character, and she's trying to put together a team to fight against the X-Men if they ever come up. And one of the characters they have to go up against is Magic, but to keep her basically under her thumb, she takes out her heart, keeps it in a box, stabs it with a pencil.
That's the Magic character.
Yeah, that's the Magic character. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna change her and make that.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have that. Well, you said the animatic.
Yeah.
There was that bear that like spirit bear or something. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
That might be in this movie. That some monster thing that they have to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's tons of good ideas that they could take with this.
Or they could just go along the lines you were going and have some sort of beam in the sky thing, you know? I mean,
yeah. I mean, because we haven't.
There are movies that do that, and they're usually, you know.
See, I feel so we haven't seen enough beams in the sky.
Yeah, what's one more?
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, but the one thing that I was thinking about with Rosario Dawson is I don't think this is too much of a departure from the Claire Temple character from all of the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah, 'cause she's supposed to be the mentor character also in this version, this Cecilia Reyes character.
Yeah, and especially now that there's rumors that Rosario Dawson's character in the Defenders or possibly post-Defenders, she might be getting superpowers.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work, but...
I mean, I trust those shows. I still have yet to not enjoy one. Even though, I mean, there's a sliding scale for how much I enjoy them.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I have faith, but I would hope that they would have given her a much more substantial or a much different role, not because Cecilia Reyes could be very substantial as like a mentor, kind of taking on the Moira McTaggart role from the original.
Plus, I like Rosario Dawson, but I don't find that she plays a lot of serious roles. She's usually a little bit more fun, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't. Again, this is not that type of movie they're trying to make. So is she the right actor for this role? I don't know. And
there's probably a lot more roles that I would have rather seen her in than this. Probably, you know, even just for the fact that, you know, I am a fan of comics, and I do know that she's a big fan of comics. I remember hearing interviews and stuff with Kevin Smith when he was talking about casting her for, was it Clerks 2? Where, just to get an idea of, like, you know, like, what kind of relationship they would have, like, you know, she was talking, like, with knowledge on, like, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, which is, like, a really random kind of, like, indie comic from the guy who did...
I don't even know what that is.
It's by Johan Vasquez, the guy who did Invader Zim.
Cool. All right. Let's not get into that. But yes, Invader Zim is cool.
But what I mean is she, you know, like, she's somebody who definitely, like, loves comics and loves the world. So I would have much rather seen her, you know, in
a more substantial role, significant character.
You know, because she also is a very talented actress.
Yeah, she is. I like her.
Yeah. All
right, let's move on to the next story. We've got a director, someone named a woman named Gina Prince Bythewood, who's going to direct what they're calling Silver and Black right now.
Yeah.
This is Sony's Silver Sable Black Cat movie in the, I guess, alternate Venom Spider-Man universe that's not having Spider-Man in it. I don't know how this is going to work. She wrote and directed The Secret Life of Bees and Love and Basketball. This is an African-American woman, actually.
Okay, sure.
I've never seen those movies.
No.
I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's a good or bad choice for this movie. I don't know why this movie is being made.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's also two characters that I really don't care about.
Silver Sable, I remember when I was a kid and I had some comics with her, and she had her own little mini series, and I was like, oh, I like the costume, how it was just all silver, and she had the silver hair, and she had guns, and she was kind of a badass, but I don't know too much or care too much about her, though.
Yeah, I think, but like Black Cat, I don't necessarily care too much about her character. I think she could do a really good job playing off of Peter Parker. But again, I don't see much of a point in actually like her, in her character, and I don't have too much. I have a lot of hope, but not a lot of faith in the direction that Sony's probably going to take these movies.
Yeah. And what are we talking about here with this movie too? Is it a hero villain, or is it team up?
I say buddy cop.
Yeah, buddy. Right. I mean, I don't know I can't imagine which
Silver
way
Sable's getting too old for this stuff. Yeah.
None of it sounds good though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sony really. I mean, Marvel. Okay, I'm sorry. Forget Sony. Marvel. If you're listening, if anybody who works for Marvel is listening.
Oh yeah.
Or sorry, Disney. Okay. Please buy Sony Pictures to stop this travesty, to stop this Venom movie, to stop this Silver Sable thing, so you can put it all into a Spider-Man universe.
Yeah. Just get it all under the same roof.
Yeah. Because this is problematic for the universe. It's for the fans, and I guess everybody else who's not a big fan, maybe they don't know, they don't care. It's not a big deal to them, but it's a big deal to us, to people who care. And I want these characters to interact with Spider-Man and be in that world. And
Silver Sable I don't care too much about. But Venom and Black Cat I do.
Yeah, they're important to the Spider-Man lore in certain ways.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Venom, Black Cat, she's had like romantic interest with Spider-Man before in the comics, so that's something that you can do. And why would you want to take that away? Yeah,
there was actually a really great bit in the Ultimate Spider-Man run where I think a lot of people were kind of on the fence whether they thought that was good or not. I thought it was fun but not great. But there's a whole thing where Black Cat, has behind masks, they haven't unmasked at all. Like there's kind of a budding like romantic interest between her and Peter Parker, who in Ultimate Spider-Man in the comics, he's still a kid. He's still in high school. I don't think by the end of the series he doesn't graduate high school, I don't believe.
Okay.
And there's just this great thing where Black Cat's like really hitting on him, and she's like getting really into it, and she's probably I think in her 20s or something, and she's like after a while like she just gets to the point where she's like, who are we kidding? There's obvious an attraction between the two of us. Let's just go for it. And she takes off her mask, and Peter pulls off his mask, and he's like this pimply, like 16-year-old kid. And she's like, nope, I'm out. I'm done. She's like, you're on your own, kid. Sorry, maybe in a few years.
Yeah, that's great.
That would have been really awesome on scene. That would,
and it's something that even down the line, if you don't get these characters right away, and then you go over to Miles Morales, you can do that with Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker. Like I'm okay with you blending and mixing those characters because they share Rogue's Gallery pretty much, so it's fine. It would be great, but we don't really have that chance anymore. So I don't know. I don't know how this plays out. We'll see. It seems inevitable. It seems like it was nothing that can be done short of my plead to Disney. Please, if you're listening, please. I
just can't.
I don't know if Sony Pictures is up for sale. There was rumor that they were possibly going to sell, but
I just can't wrap my mind around why it seems like a no-brainer where Sony's not just looking at Marvel and just saying like, okay, so we're gonna keep the rights to all these characters, but you can use them. Just give us some of the money, like basically what they're doing with Spider-Man, because at this point they really have to do like very little, no effort. Maybe some joint marketing. I'm sure they share some producers. And there might be some. I can't imagine there being much creative or creativity being shared between the two. And I can't imagine Sony just opening up all their properties, Fox as well, and just saying like, okay, you guys know what you're doing. The fans are gonna love this, and we're gonna get a lot of money for doing very little. Just you do what you want with them. Have fun. We'll both get very rich. Just don't mind us.
Yeah. It's a strange deal that happened with Sony and Disney to make that happen. And I guess I see it as that Marvel and Disney they don't really care because, it's not like they don't care about the character and don't want that to happen, but it's not necessarily within their best interest to like do what you're saying, to do all the creative work for them while Sony makes all the money, because that's what's happening with this right now with Spider-Man. I mean,
I don't think they're making all the money, but
they're paying for it, and it's their movie, and the creatives from Marvel are doing that work. So there's people that in the company who are making money, but I don't think Disney is going to be profiting at all from this. I don't think that's part of the agreement, from what I understand of it.
I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe with the licensing of Iron Man into the movie.
Maybe some part. That's possible. But
I
the large
can't imagine
portion is not theirs. And to continue to do that doesn't really benefit. They have enough characters. Their universe, MCU is doing incredibly well. Yeah. They have plenty of things that they can do. It's not like they have to do that. But, it's something that I think that they should take care of. And there's no way to stop it, short of what I said. So, I mean, speaking of Spider-Man, Tom Holland was actually cast to play a young version of Nathan Drake from the Uncharted movie adaptation of the video game series.
Which I think is pretty good casting. I haven't really played the game, but I'm familiar enough with it. And, the kid's athletic enough, and I think he looks the part, as much as anyone could. But I think he could do a lot of fun stuff. I don't know how big his role is going to be unless they're doing like the young Nathan Drake Chronicles. And
I think that's what they're doing. I think he's going to be the lead character, and he's just going to be a younger story, like sort of a prequel type story. I mean, what this says the most to me is that I'm really looking forward to Spider-Man, and Tom Holland is obviously pretty impressive to Sony, because Sony is doing this movie as well, and they must think he's really great to make him the lead of this franchise as well. So
or they're doing everything they can to keep him around.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Yeah.
But that means he's good. That means they like him. So that's what I look at this news for. But I mean, as far as the movie goes, I mean, Uncharted's basically Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm. Isn't Indiana Jones more parkour? Or am I confusing? I'm confusing franchises.
It's a similar concept.
I'm not a huge gamer.
Yeah, so. Like I only played Uncharted 2. It's a cool, this cinematic story. And to be honest, it makes sense to them to do this because the the games are essentially interactive movies.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of like video gamey stuff you do in those. You play through an epic adventure.
And I assume that there's a portion where Tom Holland's going to be hitting his head on bricks, right?
Probably.
That's all video games?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm not the biggest gamer. Carl already knows this. I'm informing all of you who have this in your ears right now. I don't actually think all games are Mario. I do believe some of them are also Zelda.
Those are the only games.
Yeah, right?
Mario, Zelda.
Dude, if I go off of the video games that I grew up with, it's Mario, Dr. Mario, and like Iron Sword.
Iron Sword? I don't even know what that one is.
It's we don't have to get into it.
Let's not. So yeah, this could be interesting. I don't know. I mean, what I was getting at was that the adult stories have been told. So if they want to tell a younger story, I could see that's something fresh and different. Although I think a lot of people who are fans of the series are going to look at it and say, I mean, Nathan Drake is to them, a 30-something adult, going on more adult adventures, and that's we won't be getting that. So who knows how it's received. All these video game movies have all not done well and not been received well either. So
yeah, I honestly can't think of one video game movie that's actually really performed well. I mean, there have been some that have been kind of fun. I do like the second Resident Evil movie.
Really? I don't even want to. That one like killed the franchise for me. But
see,
at that point,
because I thought the first one was really kind of dry and boring, but the second one, it basically was you had like Jill Valentine. I was like, okay, hot girl fighting a monster. I'm cool with it.
Oh, so you were going for the basic man thing, like your core.
I'm trying to think of when that came out because I might
instincts and values.
Because I might still have been no, I wasn't still a teenager. Early 20s.
Yeah, definitely much younger than that.
Yeah.
Where
I wasn't really looking for
us.
What's that?
Might have appealed to us more at that age.
Yeah. I should also say I haven't watched it since. I've only seen it like maybe once or twice. Because I wasn't a huge fan of the series.
Maybe it's something that we could do. Go through those movies, although I really don't want to suffer through them.
Oh, after we do the Blade trilogy?
Yeah, right.
Oh, you guys have no idea what's coming for you. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's go on to this next story.
All right.
Another one bites the dust, Brian.
Yeah.
Another one.
Doesn't surprise me in the least.
Doug Liman
Yeah.
has dropped out of directing Justice League Dark movie.
I really wish that we could get a Comic-Con panel going this year, even if it's not affiliated with Comic-Con. Maybe Nerd HQ, Nerdist, just one of the ancillary, venues in San Diego. Just get all of the directors from Flash and, maybe even get Ben Affleck, who dropped out of the Batman movie.
Yeah.
Just get all of the directors that have dropped out of a DC movie and have them explain in detail why they left. Then send that to Warner Brothers and be like, look, all of these really creative people, all these really talented people left because of these reasons. Fix that and you will get your movie.
Yeah,
Or
and we don't know specifically. Of course, they just say in this one they said scheduling conflicts.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
That's saying creative differences.
Right. Because to be honest, nobody has any clue when Justice League, Dark is ever going to come out.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why, and there's no pressure to do this at any specific time. So why they can't move it around to fit his schedule? There's no reason. So that excuse doesn't fly with me. I don't buy it at all.
No.
So Doug Liman, if anybody doesn't know, he directed Edge of Tomorrow, which I think is an excellent movie, and I would recommend everybody watch it. I know some people, missed that one in the theaters. It didn't do too well, but
some people left halfway or half an hour into it from the drive-in.
Yeah, as his second drive-in movie,
because they had a really long day. We don't have to get into that.
But Brian will watch that movie.
Sure.
He's made a promise to us.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Where was I for this?
You were in the room.
Yeah.
I may have said the words for you, but
yeah. Like you weren't around, but I do. I will watch it. As these podcasts go on, I'm sure you guys will all learn that if there's one theme in movies that I do enjoy beyond most others, it's time travel, and I know that's a big that's heavily weighs in on this movie. Mm-hmm. So I do intend to watch it. I just don't know what I'm going to get to it.
It does some excellent fun things with it. I mean, it's an action-oriented Groundhog Day in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So that movie's getting a sequel actually, and it's going to be called Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a strange title, but I mean, if anybody doesn't know, that the name of this movie essentially got changed to Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah. It was
later
Edge of Tomorrow in the theater. Then the home release was Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why it's getting a sequel, because it did really well in home releases.
Yeah.
And on demand under that new name. I guess maybe people didn't realize, but it was people found it and thought it was a hidden gem. But if you were like me and you went to the theater and saw it, knowing how great it was and loved it.
A form of a theater.
A form of a theater, yeah.
Yeah, but and again, just because I am a fan of his and I do a lot of his stuff and I do find it very quotable. Kevin Smith, a long time ago, did say that movie theater releases are just excellent commercials for DVD sales, and that now goes into the iTunes sales and Amazon sales and Amazon rentals, and because people are moving more toward digital instead of hard copy like DVD and all that. But I think that's very true, because you can notice that attendance in movie theaters is dropping, but a lot of movies that you'll see a movie and be like, oh yeah, nobody was really in the theater, but this movie's getting 2 sequels now.
And that's something that happened with the DC movies. They like Man of Steel. It did well in theaters, but didn't do as well as people would think. But the DVD and home video sales were really good for that. The same thing happened with Batman or Superman. Now, Batman or Superman was a little bit manipulative with its director's cut with like 30 minutes more, and it's rated R, guys. It's gonna be so much edgier than before. You have to see it. You didn't see the movie if you didn't see the R-rated cut with 30 minutes extra.
But let's be honest. But then you watch it, and it's not like badass Batman where he's putting out like a cigar on like somebody's eye or something like that. That would warrant an R rating. It's literally just like a half hour more of the same stuff you saw in the theater, plus a completely pointless cameo by Jenna Malone, which was way built up. Like,
everybody was
by the fans, but still.
Yeah, we were all very speculating. Oh my God, who's she playing? Oh, is she Carrie Kelly, Robin,
Batgirl, or Barbara Gordon?
Like, nope, she's a random scientist woman or investigator, whatever the hell garbage point she had in the movie. She analyzed the bullet or something. Yeah. The special bullet that nobody would ever make.
Yeah.
Look, here's my exact. Like, why don't you just put your phone number on there and your address and say, hey, I shot this bullet at somebody. Yeah. Come find me.
That movie was problematic.
So let's talk about something that excites me.
Yay.
And it has me very interested in, I'm liking a lot of where this is going.
All right.
And we can only hope it turns out well.
Yeah.
But the Universal Monsters shared universe is now officially going to be named the Dark Universe franchise.
See,
I don't know how that name is great, but that's not the bulk of why this is interesting.
See, I think they should have done something a little more clever with the name, because ever since they first introduced these, years and decades ago, in the old black and white movies, the Universal Monsters, because he had Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman and the Invisible Man and the Mummy and all of them. They were and the Creature from Black Lagoon. They were the Universal Monsters. And the name has followed through. It's a name that I grew up with. Yeah, and there was a point where I think I was taking it as they're the Universal Monsters, as in Universal, where you can just slot them in anything, not realizing that. That's who owned them, was Universal.
Right, yeah. Maybe that's why they're not going with that.
Yeah, but, just switch it around and be like, Monster Universe, or the Universal Universe. Or just, maybe not something as stupid as that. But I'm not a professional marketer.
Brian only has good ideas when it comes to writing episodes of Flash.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But
I was really hoping you were going to say no, because then I could point out everything that I called out from their season finale. I almost said series because wishful thinking.
That you didn't watch, so it's not like you could point out directly what was the problem.
No, I didn't say that I had problems. I'm saying that when you were describing it, I was calling out what happened, and I was hoping that you were going to say I had bad ideas for that, and I'd be like, well, but what I said is what happened, so you just said it was bad, and I would have won, but that's not what you did, and you took this victory away from me, Carl. You took this away from me.
And listen to our TV discussion if you want to hear more about that.
Look, listen to it, because it's going to be fun, and it'll take up half your day, but yeah. No.
So okay, let's get into what's interesting about this Dark Universe. Mm-hmm. We've got new announcements of casting. I mean, it's the first time I was seeing these.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp is going to play the Invisible Man.
Yep.
And Javier Bardem will play Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
And the two of them, of course, adds to Sophia Boutella as the mummy.
Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll / Mr. Hyde.
Yes. And then Tom Cruise as
the most charismatic person.
Some guy.
Yeah. The most charismatic sociopath.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. That's actually one of the most things I'm curious about the Mummy movie is who
is he?
Who's Tom Cruise's character? What is he gonna do? What's his significance? Is he gonna have some special power or ability? Is he a monster in some way?
Sawyer.
Because we do see him. The trailer tells you specifically that it looks like he's going to die and be brought back somehow. With the mummy, is he going to be? Maybe he's a zombie of some sort. No, they don't have anything like that.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have they said what his name is?
They do have a name.
I've put no effort into finding out what it is.
I didn't write it down because honestly, I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know what that is. What's the point of even saying it?
But what I would hope, and then this is me just clearly being stupid and just wanting to be more fun than it's going to be. I want him to be Rick O'Connell's great grandson or grandson.
Who's Rick O'Connell?
That is Brendan Fraser's character from The Mummy.
Oh.
just because I want them to be able to bring The Rock into this franchise.
The Rock, because
We need a
needs
Scorpion
to be
King.
in every franchise.
I mean, so far that's kind of what it's looking like.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
he's good. He's always fun.
Yeah.
So the next film that's scheduled for this universe is going to be The Bride of Frankenstein, and that's going to be directed by Beauty and the Beast's Bill Condon, and it's supposed to come out February 14th, 2019.
Yeah.
So they're taking a year off, which I actually think is good. I think they're taking it slow.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem like they're rushing it, but it does seem like they're planning very well.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'll be interested to see more so The Bride of Frankenstein than The Mummy, because The Mummy, just as a character, I enjoyed two out of the three Mummy movies of the franchise that, you know, ended a few years ago. But largely, it's not really a character I've really cared about. I've never really gone out of my way to watch any of them except for.
Totally get that.
But you know, the Frankenstein's monster is a story that I actually really do enjoy. I think I've read the Mary Shelley original story a couple times, and it's just, you know, it's it might be weird to say it's like a fun read, but I enjoy it. I like the idea of the character. But so I'll be interested to see Javier Bardem's take on it, because I think he is actually a really good actor, and I think he can be a little more intense than I would expect for the monster. But
I mean, I think he's great casting, and I think Johnny Depp would probably be really good for the Invisible Man.
Yeah, sure. He's just got to put on one of those green screen suits, and
but he's got that charisma, that sort of like wiliness that I would expect the Invisible Man. You know, because
I think it's going to depend on the take of the Invisible Man that they're going to go with. If they're going to, you know, go the route of, you know, basically the scientist driven mad by his own creation. You know, where he gives himself the treatment to turn invisible, and it slowly like destroying his brain.
Yeah, that could definitely be something that Johnny Depp will do well. Yeah. So hopefully that works out.
He's a really fun actor. He's definitely very much a character actor. So I'd be interested to see how far he goes into the character and what he brings to it.
So some of the other movies that are supposed to follow up after this, well, I guess after after.
Please say Monster Squad. Please say Monster Squad.
Bride of Frankenstein. Okay, after that, the next one. Well, there's no specific order on these, but this is all speculative.
But they're all leading up to Monster Squad, right?
Yes.
You remember that movie, right?
No. Wait. Which one is that?
Monster Squad? It was the one from like the mid to late 80s where it's like the four kids. They have the club where they talk about monsters, but then Dracula brings all of the movie monsters to life in a small town, and it's like nobody will believe the kids, so they have to go fight the monsters themselves.
I don't know this.
Carl, this is your homework. I will watch Edge of Tomorrow if you watch Monster Squad.
But I'm telling you to watch something really good, and you're telling me to watch something that may have been good when you were a child, but at this point, it's probably just nostalgia, and it's not very interesting.
Carl, are you saying that you're not a child at heart?
Well, my inner child, you know, he can only get me so far when it comes to a movie.
My inner child is locked under the stairs.
Yeah, like I have control over my inner child. Okay. He doesn't rule me. Okay.
He
gets locked up sometimes.
It's the logical progression.
So we've got Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Invisible Man getting his own movie, Van Helsing is listed, and The Wolfman.
Jackman playing him again?
No, I highly doubt that, because it's not going to be in the same universe as that. Van Helsing is the one that I actually think you could probably just get rid of that. I don't think we need that character. I think whatever Tom Cruise's character might possibly fill that sort of role.
Van Helsing.
Yeah, right. Not that it's the same character, but I mean, it could just be the guy who doesn't have any. He's not a monster who knows about this stuff and deals with it in some way. But I mean, not that I don't think Van Helsing is cool, and he could be a good character. You know?
Yeah, it would all depend on what they do with it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you could make a great Van Helsing movie by just biting on the whole like Castlevania video game idea,
which they're bringing to Netflix.
Which basically, I mean, is right. There was a trailer for that. Nothing too interesting to talk about. It's an animated series.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Castlevania is probably stole from Van Helsing. So, but to go more the route of how that was this very gothic story and this sort of like epic quest to go after and take down, Dracula. It could be really interesting.
Yeah, well,
they made it too fun, like with the Hugh Jackman one, and it too kitschy. It was like gimmicky and silly. It should be serious.
I did love the Wolfman effect though, where the wolf, where it was almost like grotesque, where like the wolf is just like clawing at its, or the guy is like ripping the skin off, and the wolf is coming out from inside the skin.
Oh, was that in Van Helsing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember it that well. And then we got the Wolfman, which could be good. I mean, that's been tried before, but it can be done again well. And the fact that they're gonna, have this cross through with all these other characters could make all these so much more interesting than they would ever have been on their own. Because we've seen them so many times before. So why not cross them over and add something to it?
Well, my question is with this whole thing is, what's the timeline that?
It looks like modern day.
Yeah. So, which I buy for the Mummy. I buy for Frankenstein's monster. I buy for Dracula, because they're all essentially immortal to a degree.
Right.
The Wolfman, unless they're gonna do it as a completely new thing, he hasn't shown up until recently, or that they could do that, or if it's like the family lineage.
Well, Wolfman could be done in any timeline. Van Helsing is probably the one that actually would be weird if you had that in modern time.
Yeah, because they would have to explain away why there's a vampire hunter in modern times, unless it's just like he's like a very religious big game hunter who then hears about this mummy thing that's going on, and he's like, I wonder what else is going on out there.
Yeah, I mean, back to the Castlevania idea, actually, with Van Helsing, you could make that movie sort of not a prequel, but not like a direct prequel, where it takes place in the past, and you have Van Helsing hunting down Dracula and trying to take him down, and maybe he does succeed, but like in the Castlevania games, you can never truly destroy Dracula. He'll always come back.
Yeah.
So Van Helsing then decides that he's going to train his descendants, his kids, and he's going to pass on this title and have them be this vampire hunter through the ages, making sure that whenever Dracula comes back, someone is there to stop him. And that character you can have in the modern day version be the descendant, and then you don't even have to play out or tell that story when you bring him into the other movies. You'll already understand who this character is supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that probably would be the route that would make the most sense. I don't know. I think my whole hang up is like I'm expecting it to be, more because I think I'm expecting it to be more period based.
And that one would be a period piece that would also then go into the future, very much like Wonder Woman and Captain America are doing.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be interesting. I don't know. I do agree that I don't really care too much about the Van Helsing, even though I have a feeling with me saying that's going to be the one I enjoy the most.
Yeah, right.
I was so wrong. That was so great. He did that thing with the vampires that weren't there anymore because he had all of the weapons.
Yeah, and it's Nathan Fillion playing Van Helsing.
I'm in. Yeah, sure. I mean, I love Nathan Fillion, so I was just listening to the soundtrack to Dr. Horrible this morning, so
I'm just trying to get you excited here. Okay. Yeah. All I gotta do is say Nathan Fillion is gonna be in it, and you're like,
well, I hear Nathan Fillion's doing a crossover with Doctor Who in the Star Wars universe for this Wolfman movie. I'm like, I'm in, yay!
I hear that Nathan Fillion's gonna play the Bride of Frankenstein, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Wolfman, and Van Helsing.
Hey, he has range; he could do it.
You're like, sign me up for all of that,
dude. I would love to watch Nathan Fillion play the Bride of Frankenstein. It's just him in really bad drag. Like,
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man, or no, no, sorry.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Which, okay, because they announced that they're already making Spider-Man Homecoming 2. I'm really kind of, because that was a while ago. That's not news of the week. But I'm a little disappointed that it's not like or Spider-Man Prom. You know,
I don't think
it's like, why is it Homecoming?
It's not going to be called Homecoming 2. Come on.
That's what it's.
That's just got to be like a placeholder. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're making a sequel to that movie, so it's tentatively called Homecoming 2.
So it's Spider-Man Senior Prom.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's like him and Ned, you know, striking out on their own because they can't get dates, and
That could be like the working title. Just call it like Senior Prom or something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming had a new trailer.
Yep.
And on first viewing, I was a little like, whatever, it's kind of more the same. But the second viewing actually kind of got me more into it.
Yeah.
Because the tone of it I actually think is really good.
Yeah, they're definitely doing what Marvel does best, where you get a sense of like the gravity of the situation that they're going to be in, but overall it's just fun. It feels really light and fun, and you know, it's like
you got a couple of good lines. Like this doesn't have the same one-liner effect to it. It's more like the Spider-Man like little comments. He makes little
quips,
yeah, but not the same as, I don't know. It has just a different feel. I can't really say it's totally different, but it does feel different.
Yeah.
I do find, okay, so we were both going to had comments about the suit.
Yeah.
Now, I actually think it's really cool, but I don't know that I think it works or it's right for this. How much tech is really involved? He has an AI in it, and it has a system overlay.
Yeah, it has like the HUD.
Yeah, HUD like interface, and it's telling him that, oh, you've got like
78.
Yeah, different ways to use your web stuff, and I'm like,
yeah.
And Spider-Man's supposed to create that. He's supposed to be the one who comes up with all these cool ideas. The only redeeming thing, I'll let you talk about in a minute after that, is that I do like in the end of the trailer, you do see that him and Ned are actually like kind of hacking into the suit and trying to understand how it works and access stuff that's blocked off, or maybe even change stuff. So like that's good that they're at least going to get into working on it themselves and modifying it.
Yeah, which I thought that was really fun, and we talked about it a little. Where I did think it was really fun seeing where he's like, yeah, all this stuff's locked out from the training wheels protocol. He's treating me like a kid while he's jumping on the bed, which was really fun. Like, it's intended to be, kind of jokey and stuff, and that was great. But I actually I love the look of the suit.
Yeah.
But I don't like how much attention they're putting on the suit, and it's doing something where I find it really frustrating, and I think part of it comes in with just knowing that they're doing the Venom movie, because I think there's a missed opportunity that they're heading into, or that they're heading towards that they could take, that they're not going to, and I know they're not going to, where I wish that all of this attention that they're putting on the suit in the trailers is like a misdirect, and and Stark, takes the suit away completely. He's like, you're not ready for this. You can't have this. And what I would love for them to see is he finishes the movie in like the hoodie and his like, kind of crappy looking suit that he had in Civil War that you saw in like the YouTube clips and you see in a little bit in the trailers.
Yeah.
What I would love is that he goes into Infinity Wars where, whatever it is, takes him into space, in that suit. And then in that, he makes a comment where he's like, well, Mr. Stark made me this other suit, but I don't have it anymore. So this is what I have, he's kind of panicking, and there's like some like alien tech on like a ship that like fabricates clothes, but and they basically do the Secret Wars thing where he gets the suit, like let's say it's off a Ravager's suit, and they have, the symbiote in stasis, and they don't know what it is, and
Oh, but I mean, this is a far better idea than of course the way it was done in Spider-Man 3, and
it all of this makes logical sense from everything that we've seen. It's not the only way they could handle it. It's probably not the best way they could handle it. I'm just speaking from a fan's point of view, but if you're making all this, if you're putting all this focus on the suit, which is not at all, that's an Iron Man thing. Like, when you think of Iron Man, you think of the suit. When you think of Spider-Man, you think of the web crawling, or the wall crawling and the web shooting, but you also think, that he's like just like a really fun, light character, who...
Yeah, I mean...
he's intelligent.
Spider-Man, I mean, he at a time, he was sort of gadgety,
Yeah.
And that's clearly what they're doing here.
But they're taking it away from Peter Parker.
Yeah, well, that's my hope, is that isn't too much taken away from him, and that by the end of the movie, he'll have sort of taken that back.
Yeah.
So, I mean... I can't really say. I don't know how much of this movie he's gonna have the new suit and his original, homemade one, and it's hard to tell because when watching the trailer, like he's got it in. It seems like obviously a large portion in the beginning, but then is it gonna be? Halfway through the movie, is he going to get it back in the end? We see him fighting Vulture with it.
Yeah, it does look like at one point the suit gets damaged, though. Because there's the scene where, like, he crashes in, like, the backyard, and then there's, like, the two kids in, like, the treehouse or the tent or whatever. And he's like, hey, guys, and the eyes are going all wonky.
Yeah.
And so, maybe at that point, either he gives up the suit or Stark takes it back. Because I'd like to see more so, like, a, Peter Parker on his own kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe I would hope that by the end of the movie, he tells Tony Stark, like, it's been great, thanks for this suit and everything, but I'm going to do my own thing now. I'm going to make my own suit.
Yeah.
And, we'll go from there.
Yeah,
we'll get something original of his.
Yeah, I would have been much happier if this movie was a prequel to Civil War, where this movie ends with, I don't want an origin story, like, because I don't care about that. I don't... Right. Like, there's very few superheroes where I think we actually need an origin story anymore, because I think there's so much. It's just so much of the common vernacular where we just don't need them anymore.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of characters that most people aren't familiar with.
Okay,
do you need origins for?
Okay, well, I'll say like Doctor Strange, you need an origin story for.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Superman, you don't need an origin story
Batman,
for.
No.
Batman, no. Wonder Woman, maybe. Flash, sure.
See, Captain Marvel, definitely. Shazam's gonna need one.
Darkwing Duck, you don't though.
Well,
I'm really pushing for a Darkwing Duck resurgence. Okay.
Hey, I'd love to watch that. I'd be happy about it.
Dude, I love that show so much.
So, I guess that's all on Spider-Man, right?
Yeah. I mean, it still looks
coming
like
soon, real soon, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it still looks like it's the best superhero movie that's coming out this summer.
Yeah, probably. I assume so.
Possibly this year, depending on how Thor goes.
Thor, man, I'm so excited for that. It looks really good.
It does, and the more I hear about it,
you think Spider-Man will be better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
Yeah, I could see it.
It's possible.
I mean, I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I liked it more than the first one. If you guys really want to know all of our thoughts, you're more than welcome, or should feel encouraged to go back and listen to our review.
Yeah, our spoiler filled. You probably have seen it by now, so it'd be a good time if you wanted to check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's tough to beat, but I'm very hopeful. Yeah. I'm liking these characters. I want to see it build up. I want to know things too. I want to know if. Who's Zendaya's character? Like, is she going to be somebody from the comics? Like, we're not really sure.
Yeah.
Is there a Mary Jane of sorts in this? Like, we don't really know. And that's cool. That's cool. There's actually a lot we really don't know about this movie.
Yeah. No, they're definitely doing the...
Even though people think that we've seen it all, there's clearly a lot we don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, let's quickly talk about the Star Wars. We got some...
the Vanity Fair pictures, which... I do and I don't appreciate how tight-lipped Disney is being yet again with all of Star Wars. Because as someone or as someone who's a big fan of Star Wars, which I know you are too. I would like, maybe some more information coming out. But I also do kind of enjoy that they're staying tight-lipped and they're only letting a little bit trickle out. Most of the stuff that came out, we had already seen a lot of. We've seen Kylo Ren, we've seen, his scar, and
right, yeah,
we understand why they moved it.
If you didn't tell me that, I would never have thought about it. I'd have been like, look, okay, that's where the scar is.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I couldn't really care less about it moving like an inch down his face, and I agree with the mindset that it would just kind of look dumb being this huge gash just across his face. And I actually do think it gives some nice symmetry that he has, very similar scar to what Anakin had in throughout the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith. But there were a couple there were a couple really nice photos they had with Carrie Fisher, where they had one with her and Mark Hamill, and then another one with her and Billy Lord. I thought those were really really well composed. The one that I think was the most impactful, or maybe not the most impactful, because I still think probably one of the Carrie Fisher ones was the most impactful, like emotionally or like most thought-provoking. But we finally get some more information about the Laura Dern character and Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. She got pink hair, right?
Yeah, she's got pink hair. I kind of feel like she's just going to be someone on the casino planet. That
you think she's gonna be like a random minor character?
I don't think she's gonna be minor, but I have a feeling that her character is probably gonna grow a lot more into the next movie. I think this is gonna be an introduction, whereas Benicio del Toro, they said his character is listed as DJ, but that's not his name. That's just what they were calling him on set, and they've said that he's a grifter. There's a lot of speculation that he might be somebody from Han Solo's past.
Okay.
That he's, you don't know really where his allegiance lies, whether it's going to be, with the good guys, the bad guys, the First Order, the Resistance. And that they said also, like, once you see the movie, why they call him DJ will make a lot of sense. And there's some speculation that it's short for Dark Jedi, which could be cool, that he could be like a Padawan who's, or like a youngling that survived Order 66, and he kind of grew up, where he's just like, he can't really use the Force, or as well as, someone. There's a lot of speculation on that. My hope.
There is a lot, clearly. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, my hope, though, and this is completely off the wall and ridiculous, I acknowledge that, is that Rian Johnson just got like way into Hamilton, and that this entire episode of Star Wars is going to be told through hip hop, and he's going to be the DJ that's just spinning those awesome beats.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
We also got to see what's her name? Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah, without the helmet.
Yes, Captain Phasma with the helmet off, which was a little disappointing because it was like, hey, it's just her.
It just looks like Gwendolyn Christie.
Nothing going on.
She has her new spear thing that's going to be her weapon. I really hope that she's not the Boba Fett of this trilogy, where she looks awesome but doesn't do anything. Yeah, that was so disappointing in The Force Awakens. Like,
yeah, it was disappointing, but also I didn't care too much because the movie had so much going on, so many characters. You can't. You built up the most important characters, which was Rey, Finn, and Poe.
Yeah.
And Kylo. That's I don't. Everybody else, sorry, like those are the most important characters right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll even put Hux in there, where
he didn't get a lot of play, but I would like to see more of him. He was, I mean, he's a good actor. Like
Donald Gleason. Yeah. I'm a big fan of his. Everything I've seen him in, I've enjoyed. So hopefully they give him some more to do. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I really would have thought, because as of this is 27th, but for the majority of the recording, it was, this was on the 26th, so yesterday was the 25th, which was the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. That's a long way of saying that Thursday was the 40th
It was
anniversary.
recently the 40th anniversary.
Yeah. And I really would have hoped that they would have done a little more. They didn't really do anything for May the 4th, which, that's kind of a fan thing anyway. But I would have really hoped that they would have, maybe, put out a little more than just the Vanity Fair stuff. Again, I don't really need anything more about story, because going into Force Awakens, we didn't really have a whole lot, and that movie turned out to be pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe they're just really focused on getting everything right, and they don't want to put out anything that might make it misrepresent it. Maybe they're not sure how to talk about what's in there. Maybe they can't because it's too important, or I don't know. There's obviously more you could say, but they if anyone have the right and are allowed to, can get away with not telling us a damn thing until the day the movie comes out. So,
and honestly, I'm okay with it. I'm just being the excited fan. The only other thing with Star Wars that I did hear about this week was Pablo Hidalgo, who's like the head of the story department for Lucasfilm. He did say, I think it was either an interview or on Twitter, where he was replying. He was still basically whatever it was, whatever the context. He was replying to someone basically saying that the lightsaber that was found in Maz Kanata's castle is officially now being called Rey's lightsaber. So that that kind of answer is like, did she give it to Luke? I know we see her with it in this, but so that's kind of a little bit of a reveal.
I suppose. I mean, I suspected she would keep it.
Yeah,
and Luke probably either doesn't want to use one anymore or has another one.
Well, I imagine he probably still has the green bladed one.
Yeah, right. So that's fine.
Yeah.
But, all right. So we saved this story for last.
Yeah.
It's a big one. Yeah. But it's also
pretty big, pretty heavy.
Heavy story, a touchy subject. Hard to place how we want to say and talk about things, but we're gonna do it. And the story is, of course, you may have heard, Zack Snyder has left the Justice League movie, and this is due to the suicide of his 20-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And of course, condolences to him and his family.
Yeah, it's something I wouldn't wish on anyone, and I do hope that whatever he has to do to help himself and his family through it, that they do find a way to find peace with it.
The right thing for him to do. Your family is one of the most important things, and this is something that's difficult for anyone to deal with, and you can't expect him to be able to continue to work like that.
I'm amazed that he was able to, that he continued on as long as he had.
Right, because this happened in March, and we're just hearing about this now. He's been going along with it so far. So, hopefully, as whatever I think about his work, that's irrelevant in this conversation.
Yeah.
I hope that everything. I wish the best for him, and he can get through this as best as he can.
Yeah. No. Yeah, because even that aside, I think because we've done our share of bashing of his work in the DC properties, but I think there's definitely the one thing that we've both agreed on is that visually he is an artist, and
absolutely,
and I for the fact that he was still trying to continue to make that art while he was going through all of that, it's something that I do appreciate, but like you said, I completely understand him bowing out, and I'm amazed that he that he stuck through it for this long, and and that I hope that going forward with the work that Joss Whedon's going to be doing on the movie now to finish up whatever is left.
Right, and as a result of his leaving, they have appointed Joss Whedon to take over directorial duties for this movie, which was incredibly shocking to read this.
Yeah,
I did not expect this at all. We know Joss Whedon had been dealing with DC because he's supposedly doing this Batgirl movie, which I didn't think was actually going to be a thing that was going to happen. But with him taking this over, it seems like he's definitely on board to do stuff for them. So
yeah, which I think this is definitely a very positive step for the movie, because
if not a strange one, but hopefully positive.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, Joss Whedon coming in is a positive step. Nothing.
Of course, right.
I want to clarify that. But because I think I've said it on the podcast in the past. I know we've said it in conversations in the past. I think the best thing for these movies would be to have Zack Snyder as the director of photography and like paint every frame of these movies, because if there's one thing he's good at, it's making like incredible visuals, and then have somebody like Joss Whedon who completely understands story and character and brings so much warmth to this. You know, I think if I actually have a lot of hope for this movie now, because going into it I knew it was going to look great, even though there was going to be stuff in there I wasn't going to care about. Now I actually have a feeling that they're whatever, you know, like pickups or reshoots that they might do,
which they are. They've been talked already that they're going to be doing. I don't know if they're going to call it reshoots. Yeah, but it's going to be reshoots.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be drastic change, but I did read something saying that, you know, that they were already planning the stuff.
Yeah.
And that Joss Whedon was actually supposedly going to be on board to write some of this stuff. Yeah. And
so I think
maybe this has been actually a long time coming, that they've been planning to have this happen, and it was more gradual than it seems to us.
Yeah. But I mean, I think this is an incredible step in the right direction for the DC movies to be taking, and you know, I really do hope that the two of them make a great team, like working in tandem. And I do hope that if this movie comes out how I'm hoping it does now, with Joss Whedon, you know, having his hand in the story and all the visuals from Zack Snyder, I would love for the two of them to continue on through the series, you know, for how they're going to do it. Now, because I do think that they could save the franchise from all the criticism that we've been throwing at it so far.
I do wonder though if he's the right choice. I mean, I for this particular franchise, as it's already been set.
Yeah.
Like if you had told me beforehand, before Batman vs Superman, that he was going to do Justice League, I'd have been like, yeah, that'd be great. But Joss Whedon is not this. He's not in this dark, gritty territory. And how will we see a clash of style? Will this movie feel disjointed because of it? Like, I hope that I don't know or think that's going to happen, but I do sort of question whether how much he can really change the movie at this point, and if he will even try to do that so much, because
it's already so
paying
far.
Respect, of course, to
and
Zack
it's
Snyder.
Also so far into it,
and the movie's already been filmed, so you know you can only change so much with pickups or reshoots. And you could be causing more problems by trying to do too much. So I'm still worried, but I'm somewhat more hopeful for this movie.
Yeah, as far as tone goes, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue, because even though a lot of his stuff is really kind of fun, which seems to be my word of the podcast, is fun.
It's the easiest way to describe it.
But you know, it's like it's smart and quick and witty and irreverent. But you know, keep in mind, this is also the guy who wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, and Firefly, all of which, you know, have their fun stuff, but some of it gets really dark at times. Like, you know, and I look at all of the really like the darkest episodes of, you know, Buffy and Angel, you know, where it's still kind of a, you know, you can argue that it's a dopey, like, you know, WB or what would now be CW, like teen show. You know, and it has that, you know, it's in that vein of the melodrama. It's still something that he's familiar with and he's worked in. Serenity, the Firefly movie, for however much, you know, it is all of the things that I said before, it actually gets pretty somber, throughout it. It's actually like I would say even in like visuals, it's not all that dissimilar from what you've seen in Batman vs Superman, but it's a much more character-wise, it's a much better execution. Yeah. So I actually have a lot of faith in what Joss Whedon can bring to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's maybe more of a script thing that I don't know that this is the kind of script that he would want to work on, and I don't know how much he can change. He obviously can't change too much dialogue at this point. Yeah. He can add in a couple different things here and there, but he
just closes the Flash and Batman's masks over their mouths in CGI, and everything's just done ADR.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, sure. I mean, at this point, who knows?
Now, there's the other thing that I think is odd is that it's like, okay, he directed Avengers and Avengers 2, and now he's directing Justice League. I mean,
he's good at team-ups.
but Avengers 2, after that movie, he had sort of been, exhausted from that process. And,
well, I think a lot of
WB has been known to be much more intense and much more involved in what's the word I'm looking for?
The production,
meddling, if you want to use that, into the production and trying to influence what's happening in that aspect when you shouldn't be. We've seen that affect, Suicide Squad heavily.
Yeah.
And with the guy who they've essentially left alone before, like Zack Snyder was left alone to do whatever he wanted on Man of Steel for the most part, and for Batman vs Superman. I can't see them leaving Joss Whedon alone to take over all of this when this is their huge, big franchise thing that needs to be. Well, they spent a hell of a lot of money on this movie. They've been working on it for a really, really long time. They're gonna be probably butting heads with him at on stuff, because you let your guy left, and there's gonna be executives who are gonna be like, no, I need to make sure that this works well, and they're gonna be very hands-on in some ways, I could see, and I don't know if that's gonna work out so well for Joss Whedon, and it could lead to him even leaving the Batgirl project, if it doesn't go well. That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it's gonna be very telling with if Joss Whedon stays on or not. For I think whether they need to just pull the plug on the entire franchise.
We've already said how much we wanted that to happen before.
For however much we want it to happen or not, I think losing
this could be it, right?
It could be, because at this point he's proven
crashes and burns, and Joss Whedon's out after this. Yeah, it could be over.
Yeah, because if Joss Whedon can't make this work, and he's kind of like the guy in Hollywood for doing large ensemble movies with all, where you're balancing all leads, if he can't make this work, then there's probably not going to be much hope. So I don't know.
Interference. That was why I had that word, studio interference.
Yeah.
In my head, meddling is
similar, but
basically the same thing. But man. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So I think we're done.
Yeah, I'd say so.
This is the end of the road of episode 3.
Yeah, just for episode 3.
Yeah, just episode 3. Yeah. We're happy to have all of our new listeners.
Yeah.
We see we've got people from different places in the country and around the world.
Yeah. It was unexpected, and I hope that everybody is listening and enjoying and not cringing and, getting something out of it, and, that it's starting, if anything, if the very least that it's killing, some, dead time in your day, or that it's starting conversations.
Exactly. Just like conversations we have, and the reason we're doing this show is because we just love to talk about this stuff. This is how we talk, and this is what we do when we're hanging out. So please, we appreciate you listening. We're very thankful, and write to us. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you have any ideas, what you'd like us to do, what works, what doesn't. And you can do that on Twitter Superhero Journey, at Superhero Journey. No E in super. And email us at thesuperheroesjourney@gmail.com, where heroes is plural, not possessive.
And then, I'll just tag on to that. Just whatever platform you're listening to this on, just if you'd be so kind, just rate us and leave a comment, write a review. It'll just help make our podcast be a little more noticeable, so that if you're enjoying this, other people can find it a little easier, and we can start bringing you guys into the conversation as well, because we'd love to talk to you guys.
All right. And also, we have our TV discussion to listen to as well up for all the finales for Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow. And next week, since all the shows are over, we're going to do a little special talking about superhero villains in the movies and a sort of ranking system that we've come up with here. I hope you enjoy that.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah. So this has been the Superhero's Journey, episode number 3. My name is Carl Freemerman.
I'm Brian Shores.
The co-host.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.